welcome back to Chelley&Nay, where you know when we're on.
It's poppin', y'all.
If you're new to our channel, welcome. We love you already. Today we are going to be letting you guys know what it is like and what it was like fostering teens as a new couple. Because we were a new couple at the time.
And it was quite the experience, you guys. But before we get right into this crazy topic, please don't forget to
like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell if you're nasty, and don't forget to
tell your besties, you guys. Tell everyone you know about Chelley&Nay, because we're on the road to 3K, you guys. And we're getting really, really close.
And don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms. First off, I actually was fostering teens before Nay and I got together. I worked with foster children and youth for about 2 years, and then I ended up becoming a foster parent for at-risk teens. So I had been doing it already for a few years, and then Nay and I got together. So we ended up having the talk. I asked her if it was something that she was interested in, and at the time she was. I'll let you speak on it.
Yeah, sure, babe, sure. I mean, definitely at the time I was interested, just because it, you know, it was kind of a new venture. That was the beginning of our relationship, and obviously I'm just a very open person. Also, I'm into trying new things and gathering different life experiences. So there was nothing kind of steering me away at the time from trying it, at least. And you know, I was definitely just willing to kind of see that side and see more of what Chelley did, especially because, you know, we were a couple and we were living together. So I would be very involved regardless. So I think it only made sense for me to kind of step into that role as well.
The first thing I can say about fostering teens specifically and as a new couple, it was just different compared to me fostering them on my own versus being with Nay and then continuing to foster them. It was just it was two different worlds. It was a whole different experience. This program specifically that I worked in was different from just regular fostering. So anybody who's looking to foster like babies or children or whatever, just don't take anything that we say to heart, because I always, even to this day, I always still encourage people to, because people come to me sometimes and say, oh, like, how was your fostering experience? And I always tell them, I say, look, don't take my experience as it's going to be the same for you, because our program was specifically for at-risk teens. And the whole goal of that program was that these were kids coming from either foster care or group homes, or even some just from the street. Like, I don't want to say just off the street, but basically that's what it was. And we were preparing them for real life. That was the goal anyway. So they would kind of move on at 18, or there was a option that if they were doing well and if they were in a certain region that we lived in, that they could stay longer and we could extend their stay with us. So that's kind of just a little background story, just so you guys know. So we're not trying to make this video to discourage people from fostering. It's totally cool. I still think it's amazing. I would do it again if I could just do it my way. I think that it would have been a whole different experience if we could have done it our way. But as I was saying, fostering by myself as an individual and then fostering with Nay as a new couple, it was just totally different. And I just think that it was a lot more difficult having especially a new relationship and fostering. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that Nay and I had two different mindsets, I feel, where like the fostering was concerned. And we had different experiences, because there's a lot that I could handle that Nay was just like, whoa. There's certain things that I have experienced working with those type of children and youth that Nay had not experienced. And it's totally nothing, there's nothing negative. We're not trying to say anything negative. It's just different experiences is what it is. Yes. I feel.
And I think that someone who is used to dealing with certain aspects, situations, maybe at some point behaviors, it comes as just like it's second nature, and that's great and that's fine. But I think that there were certain parts to this whole program that wasn't healthy. I personally feel that upon stepping out of the program now, and we've been out of it for a couple of years now, I can just say, looking back on certain things, how certain situations unfolded, maybe it wasn't incorrect for the program itself, but I don't think it was appropriate for any human being at all to have to deal with. Yeah, and that's something we both agree upon, and that's never to bash a certain person, a certain thing, a certain anything at all. It's just to say that a person who maybe has gone through something or is healing or is trying to continue to live a healthy lifestyle, you know the signs and you see the signs, and there will be certain moments where you're like, okay, well, that's very damaging. Not sure how a human being is supposed to heal or recover from that and then also take care of youth.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I feel like, again, comparing it to when I was fostering on my own when I first entered the program, it was totally different as the years went on. And there was a certain criteria in the beginning that the teens had to meet before being able to join the program and be accepted into the program. And as time went on, it just kind of diminished. Like there was no
criteria.
Yeah, there was no criteria. And I think a big part of the problem when Nay and I started doing it together was that because there was two of us, it was almost like they're doing us a favor, which at the end of the day they did. That program was, they did a lot for us, but I also did a lot for them, a lot, and Nay also did a lot for them. And the thing that I just want to throw in there about Nay was that she, I feel like, didn't get as much credit as she deserved because she came in strong. Like she was like, I need to learn all these things. She learned about documentation. She learned about different behaviors. Like we went to different trainings and things like that. And I get it, like it's a job, you know, there's no pats on the back or whatever it was, but it's just a certain level of respect. That's all I'll say about that.
That's fair.
Yeah, I don't hold any negativity towards that program specifically, but I just feel like we can do better as humans, you know? And again, it's that whole thing where, I'm just going back to what you were saying, it's that whole thing where it's like, if you are not okay as a person, how can you care for someone else, right? And that's what we all try to drill into our own minds, that, oh, I need to put myself first and take care of myself first, which is true, except in this case. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there was no, and I get what you were saying about the check-in, and we did have support, but to an extent. And like I said, as time went on, it just became more real how little we were, I guess, respected.
Or acknowledged in a way. Yeah.
And it was like what we were doing was diminished. It was like kind of like, oh well, and it depended on, there's so many components to it, guys.
So many variables.
Yeah,
so
it's hard to even talk about this because there's a lot of good to it, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of crap to it.
There is.
And it's not to put down a specific company or agency or person in general, it's just there's a lot that goes on. So all I can say is that, especially as a new couple, just think and do your research about it, because just like if you were to birth a child, you have to be willing and able to accept whatever it is that they come with.
Yes, and I'm gonna add that I think that's what also makes it harder, that yes, it was a life I chose because being with you, but it was also something I wanted to do, but
because you thought you were actually gonna make a difference.
And I think that's the thing. Criteria also was a means to kind of keep us safe, I feel, in a way. You know, there are certain things that, yes, as much as this was our job at a point and we agreed to certain things, there were certain things we didn't agree to. Putting our lives at risk, to an extent, I feel that everyone puts their life at risk every single day. Even just, you know, getting in your car and going to the grocery store, you put your life at risk. You never know what's gonna happen. But there were certain situations that were very dangerous, uncalled for situations that could have been prevented. And again, that does come with the territory, I understand that, but you really realize what's important after you realize that there's no criteria for us as the foster parent. And I think that was the point where I said, okay, what's a little bit more important? Our mental health, we prioritize that, but I don't know that it was prioritized in that situation.
No.
It was about the youth. Understandable, yeah. They're the ones that need the help, they need the assistance. It's not us that need that, but
it is us that needs that though, because just like we were just saying, if you are not okay and you don't feel safe and you don't feel supported or protected, how can you care for another human life, which we would always put them first, but at the same time, because we always had to put them first, meanwhile struggling with their own traumas and stuff
Yes.
like that. Like that was just, and I have to say, just throw that in there, we didn't quit. It wasn't something that we wanted to quit. It's just something that kind of happened. Like the owner of the home that we lived in, he ended up selling, which is totally fine. You have to do what you have to do for yourself, this and that. But it was just kind of like, hey, bye. Like, see ya. It was just like,
that's the only reason we stopped doing it, essentially.
yeah, and that's the thing, and we would have kept going, but we took it as a sign that it was like, okay, we kind of got kicked out at the right time. It wasn't anything we did wrong, and it wasn't anything they did wrong. It was just, it just happened. Like, it's a business at the end of the day. Like, if you want to think about fostering as, oh, I'm gonna do this and help so many lives, you're not. Like, I'm sorry, you're really not. You may, don't get me wrong, like we keep in touch with some of the kids that we did have, and they're doing great. Some of them, I won't speak on it, but it's just that you don't make a difference at the end of the day. You at least not the difference that you want to make.
Yes.
And that's what the problem that we were having.
And I think
it's a business.
It is, and I think the difference we were striving to make didn't really matter on paper. It matters in our hearts, but that's pretty much as far as it went. There were certain things that needed to be done so things could look a certain way. But, you know, also just kind of going back to what we were saying before, if something is at the expense of our safety, I think also that's the point where it's not worth it anymore. Like Chelley said, yeah, we got kicked out. It happened at a perfect time because I think
because we could have went back easily,
yeah, we could have went back.
I
think we even had the offer and the opportunity. But you know, when there aren't certain mandates and rules in place to also keep us safe and comfortable while we do an already very, very taxing and difficult job, and you have no quality of life or sanity, you know, it's easy to kind of want to say, okay, thank you so much. I did what I could do with the time I was here, and now it's time for me to go. Also, Chelley and I are people who are very much like, we are feedback people. We look at a situation, we're involved in the situation, and we're like, hey, how can we make this better? We care, and I think that's our problem, is that we care too much. And we care about the things that maybe don't matter as much in the grand scheme of things, but there are things that are important. And just being two people who care about people, Chelley literally works with kids for her full-time job. It's like, there are certain things that just seem like it's normal to want for a child who's gonna have to grow up and live in the real world all by themselves very soon. And I don't know, I guess Chelley and I have very different priorities, and that's also what she kind of meant where it's like, hey, maybe we would still be doing this if the observations we made and the things that we noticed throughout being in that program mattered a little bit more, I think. There's certain changes that could have been made. There's huge differences that could have been made, I feel, and I think Chelley feels too, had our voices been heard a little bit more. So.
Oh, they're heard, trust me, especially mine. And if anybody who I worked with over there watches this, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, we heard you. Like, you were loud and clear, we heard you. But it's just that there's levels, right? So like, I can only do this much. The person above me can only do this much. The person above them can only do this much. And then you get to the ministry and the government, and it's just broken. Like, I'm sorry to say, it is broken. And I can speak on that because I lived it. Some people would disagree with me, great, have your opinion. But still to this day, I work for the government, and I work with special needs and behavioral children and youth. And there's only so much difference you can make, because then there's lack of consistency, there's lack of this, there's lack of that, there's just lack of.
And if not everyone wants the same thing, we're not gonna be able to achieve the same common goal.
And the biggest problem, I just wanna say, because I'm gonna forget, is that a lot of people just focus on the now. It's like, oh, they have a bed, they have food, they have water, great, they're fine. They're not fine. Like, everything is broken. Everything is broken. It's just terrifying how broken everything is. And we can't do enough. We can't do enough. And the people that can do enough, they focus on the wrong things. And again, you're focusing on the present, great. We do need to deal with the present, but we need to focus and think about the future. And that's what I say every day, every single day at work. And it's like, it's just like this. Like, you're just hitting a brick wall every single day, 100 times a day. So it's like, you know what? For mental health purposes, like you said, when we did get kicked out or whatever, we're not saying it in a negative way. That's just what happened, right? So when that happened, we were like, yeah, we need to just, that was a sign. We need to just not go back, because we're gonna have the same fight. And I already do that every day, so you don't need to do it at work and then come home to it, you know? Absolutely. So we just wanna let you guys know that it's not like all cute and fun games and you're gonna help somebody. Like, it's terrifying sometimes. It's traumatizing sometimes. And it can be beautiful at times. But it's those youth that need so much more help, time, and attention. They're not getting that. The ones that are already kind of semi-independent, you know, they will be the shining stars and you'll see the stories about them, right? You won't see the stories about the ones that, I can't even speak on it.
Guys, it's really hard. It's honestly so hard.
Because I don't want it to be that we're bashing anybody or anything or any program or anything like that. It's not that. It's just letting you guys know, especially as a new couple, if I was back in that situation, like if I could rewind time, I wouldn't have asked Nay to foster with me. Either we would have been together and just stayed in our houses 10 seconds away from each other, or I would have just left the program to be with her because that's obviously more important to me. And again, it wasn't terrible. We had amazing times there. Like, we had some really, really good times and good memories and stuff like that, but it's just the bad, I feel like, overrides the good.
Yeah, in a situation like that, I feel that it does. But it's nothing that you can't come back from. I mean, you know, it's like Chelley and I are probably stronger than ever because of certain things we went through being foster parents. I definitely can say it gave me a thick skin. I am thankful for it. I'm never gonna say I'm not thankful for certain life experiences. It only makes us better and stronger and smarter.
And again, please remember that this is just a little video we wanted to make about our experience fostering teens as a new couple specifically. That's kind of what we were talking about. I know we went off on a couple different tangents, but we're not talking about all the beautiful parts of it and all the fun stuff we did, and we're not talking about how much that they helped us and how much we, you know, like, it's not like that. We're not doing that type of video. We could, but we're just specifically talking about fostering teens, at-risk teens, as a new couple. Would we do it again? I personally say no. Like, I wouldn't do that again. Would I foster again? Yes, I would. And I feel like now as a couple we could do it again, but if we could do it our way, which we can't, unfortunately. So
that's the reality of it. So odds are I probably wouldn't.
But let us know in the comments down below if you have ever had experience fostering, know anybody who has fostered, if you are involved with the foster care system in any way, shape, or form, if you want to hear more about our stories, I don't know, whatever, just comment whatever you want down below, because again, we're not here to discourage anybody about anything or bash anybody about anything. It was specifically just that one topic.
It was just to speak on our experience, you guys. Like Chelley said, there was a lot of good that came out of that program, a lot of good that came out of us being there for someone who needs it more than we do. I'm not going to take away those things. Just always, like she said, do your research, know exactly what you're getting yourself into.
We're gonna go eat now.
Yeah, I need a deezed meal right now.
But if you made it to the end of this gorgeous video, thank you so much for watching.
Was it gorgeous?
What?
Was it gorgeous?
Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell if you're nasty, and don't forget to
tell your besties, you guys. Tell everyone you know about Chelley&Nay, because we are on the road to 3 freaking K.
With or without you, so you better be with us.
Yeah, it's better to just be with us. It did.
Yeah, I was just trying to be aggressively loving. Call all the Kedz.
Yeah, calling all the Kedz.
And don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms. Later, Kedz. Later, Kedz. Don't forget to check out our latest videos.